The marble floors of the Castellano estate gleam like polished mirrors under the afternoon sun streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows. I've been on my knees for 3 hours now, scrubbing grout lines with a toothbrush because Mrs. Castellano insists that's the only way to get them properly clean. My back aches. My knees throb through the thin padding I've learned to bring from home. But I don't complain. Can't complain. Not when this job pays twice what I made at the diner. Not when Mama's medical bills keep piling up. Not when my little sister Zara needs new school supplies every other week. Naomi, Mrs. Castellano's sharp voice cuts through my concentration. We have guests arriving in 20 minutes. Finish that hallway and then help set up the sitting room. Mr. Castellano is entertaining very important people tonight. Yes, ma'am. I sit back on my heels, wiping sweat from my forehead with the back of my hand. Very important people. That's code for the kind of men who arrive in black SUVs with tinted windows, who speak in low voices about things I'm not supposed to hear, who leave envelopes of cash on side tables that disappear before morning. I've worked for the Castellanos for 8 months now, long enough to understand what kind of family they are. Long enough to know that keeping my head down and my mouth shut is the only way to survive in a house like this. If you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Drop a comment telling me where in the world you're watching from. I love hearing from you. I gather my cleaning supplies, hauling the bucket to the utility closet before washing my hands in the small staff bathroom. My reflection in the mirror shows exactly what I expect. A 24-year-old black woman with tired eyes, natural hair pulled back into a practical bun, wearing the plain gray uniform Mrs. Castellano insists on. No jewelry, except the small silver cross my grandmother gave me before she passed. No makeup because there's no point. I'm hired to be invisible. The sitting room is already partially prepared when I arrive. Crystal decanters filled with expensive whiskey, glasses arranged just so, fresh flowers in vases that probably cost more than my monthly rent. I move through the space efficiently, adjusting pillows, checking that every surface is dust-free, making sure the room looks effortlessly perfect. Naomi, the ashtrays. Mrs. Castellano appears in the doorway, her blonde hair sprayed into submission, wearing a dress that costs more than I make in 6 months. Make sure there are fresh ashtrays on every table, and light the fireplace. Mr. Castellano wants the room warm. Of course, ma'am. She disappears without another word. I'm halfway through arranging the ashtrays, heavy crystal things that could double as weapons, when I hear the first cars pulling up the circular driveway. Male voices, confident and loud. The kind of voices that have never questioned their right to take up space. I should leave, should disappear into the kitchen with the other staff, and stay out of sight while Mr. Castellano conducts his business. But Mrs. Castellano reappears, grabbing my arm with fingers that dig in hard enough to bruise. Stay nearby, she hisses, in case they need anything, but don't speak unless spoken to. Understood? My stomach sinks. Yes, ma'am. The men enter like a wave of expensive cologne and barely concealed danger. There are 6 of them, all wearing suits that probably cost more than my car did before it broke down for good last month. Mr. Castellano leads them, playing the gracious host, gesturing toward the seating arrangements I've just perfected. I press myself against the wall near the doorway, trying to become part of the wallpaper. Most of them don't even glance my way. I'm furniture to them. Scenery. Exactly what I need to be. But one man notices me. He's younger than the others, maybe early 30s, with dark hair slicked back from a face that's all sharp angles and cold calculation. Expensive suit, gold watch, shoes that gleam like black glass. He settles into one of the leather armchairs, crossing his legs with casual arrogance, and his eyes find mine across the room. Not with interest, with assessment. Like he's cataloging my presence and determining my worth in a single glance. I look away immediately, focusing on the middle distance the way I've learned to do. Visible enough to be useful if called upon, invisible enough to be forgotten. Gentlemen, Mr. Castellano says, all false warmth and political smile. Let's discuss the matter at hand. The waterfront properties. Enzo. The dark-haired man's voice cuts through Mr. Castellano's like a knife through butter. Smooth, controlled, absolutely commanding. Before we begin, I find myself in need of assistance. The room goes quiet. Even Mr. Castellano, who I've seen bully his wife and intimidate his business partners, seems to shrink slightly under the weight of that voice. Of course, Mr. Moretti. Whatever you need. Moretti. The name sends ice down my spine. Everyone in Chicago knows that name. The Moretti family doesn't just operate in the shadows. They own them. And this man, based on the deference suddenly filling the room, isn't just a member of the family. He's someone important. Someone dangerous. My shoes. He extends one leg slightly, showing off those gleaming black Oxfords. I stepped in something unpleasant on the way in. Dog waste, I believe. From your poorly trained animals, Enzo. His tone is pleasant, conversational, and absolutely scathing. I'd like them cleaned before we proceed. Mr. Castellano's face flushes red. Of course, of course. I apologize. The dogs. Now, Enzo. It's not a request. Mr. Castellano's eyes snap to me. You, girl, clean Mr. Moretti's shoes. My heart hammers against my ribs. I've cleaned toilets, scrubbed floors, done things that made my stomach turn. But something about the way this man is looking at me, about the power play happening in this room, makes my skin crawl. I cross the room on legs that feel disconnected from my body. Keep your head down, Naomi. Do the job. Get through this. I kneel beside his chair, the position immediately making me feel small, diminished, exactly what he wants. Up close, I can see there's nothing on his shoes. Not a speck of dirt. Not a hint of anything unpleasant. This isn't about cleanliness. This is about power. About making someone kneel. About reminding everyone in the room, including me, exactly where they stand in the hierarchy. Well? His voice drifts down to me, amused. I'm waiting. My hands shake slightly as I reach for the cloth in my apron pocket. I can feel every eye in the room on me. Can feel the weight of their expectations, their amusement, their complete indifference to my dignity. And something inside me just breaks. Not breaks down, breaks free. I've spent 8 months swallowing my pride, biting my tongue, accepting disrespect because I needed the money. I've let Mrs. Castellano talk to me like I'm stupid. Let Mr. Castellano's friends make comments about my body when they think I can't hear. Let myself be invisible because that's what survival required. But this deliberate humiliation, this performance of power designed to crush whatever self-respect I have left, I can't do it. I won't. I sit back on my heels, cloth still in my hand, and look up at him. Really look at him for the first time. His face is handsome in a cruel way, all sharp edges and cold eyes. But there's something else there too. A test, maybe, like he's waiting to see what I'll do. No. The word comes out steady, clear. Loud enough that everyone hears it. The room goes absolutely silent. Mr. Moretti's eyebrows lift slightly. Excuse me? I said no. I stand up, my knees protesting, my heart trying to beat its way out of my chest. Your shoes are already clean. You don't need me to clean them. You just want to watch someone kneel for you. The shock on Mr. Castellano's face would be comical if I wasn't certain I'd just ended my employment. Possibly my life, given the kind of men filling this room. You don't speak to Mr. Moretti that way, Mr. Castellano sputters, face going from red to purple. Apologize immediately, get on your knees, and let her speak. Mr. Moretti's voice cuts through the rising tension like a blade. He's leaning forward now, elbows on his knees, studying me with an intensity that makes my skin prickle. This is interesting. Continue, please. Tell me why you're refusing a simple request. It's not a request, and we both know it. But I've already jumped off the cliff. Might as well see if I can fly. Because I'm not a dog, I say, keeping my voice level despite the adrenaline flooding my system. I'm a person. I'll clean your house, I'll serve your drinks, I'll do any job you pay me fairly to do. But I won't perform degradation for your entertainment. Mr. Castellano makes a strangled sound. You're fired. Get out. Get out right now Before you what, Enzo? Mr. Moretti still hasn't taken his eyes off me. There's something in his expression I can't read. Amusement? Respect? Calculation? Before you assault her in front of witnesses? Please, continue that thought. The threat in his pleasant tone makes Mr. Castellano stumble backward. I didn't mean. Mr. Moretti, I apologize for this disruption. The help these days, they don't know their place. Their place. Mr. Moretti stands in one fluid motion, and I realize he's tall. Over 6 feet of controlled power that makes the room feel suddenly smaller. He moves toward me, and every instinct screams at me to run. But I hold my ground, lifting my chin, meeting his eyes even though fear is making my hands shake. He stops less than 2 feet away, close enough that I can smell his cologne, something dark and expensive. Close enough to see the flecks of gold in his brown eyes. Close enough to see the slight smile playing at the corners of his mouth. What's your name? He asks. Naomi. I refuse to add sir or any other honorific. If I'm already fired, already finished, I might as well go out with whatever dignity I can salvage. Naomi. He says it slowly, like he's tasting the word. How long have you worked for the Castellanos? 8 months. And in those 8 months, how many times have you been asked to do something that made you feel like less than a person? The question catches me off guard. I glance at Mr. Castellano, who looks like he's about to have a stroke, then back at Mr. Moretti. Every day, I answer honestly, but I needed the job. Needed. Past tense. He tilts his head slightly. You understand you're finished here? Yes. You understand that refusing me in front of all these witnesses could have consequences beyond unemployment? My mouth goes dry. Yes. And yet you did it anyway. Why? Because I'm tired. Because my mother didn't raise me to let people treat me like I'm nothing. Because if I have to choose between dignity and survival, I'll pick dignity and find another way to survive. Because some things aren't worth the price. I say quietly. The silence that follows is so complete I can hear my own heartbeat. Mr. Moretti stares at me like I'm a puzzle he's trying to solve, and I stare back because looking away now feels like surrender. Then he laughs. It's not the cruel laugh I expected. It's genuine, warm, surprised. He turns to Mr. Castellano, whose expression has cycled from purple rage to pale fear. Enzo? Mr. Moretti says, still smiling. You employ this woman as a maid? Yes. She was. Past tense, as the lady herself noted. He turns back to me. Naomi, you're wasted cleaning floors for the Castellanos. How much do they pay you? I shouldn't answer. Should keep my mouth shut, take my firing, and leave quietly. But something about the way he's looking at me, like I'm actually a person, not furniture, makes me respond. $12 an hour, 40 hours a week when they give me full-time, no benefits. His jaw tightens almost imperceptibly. Criminal. Though I suppose I shouldn't expect better from Enzo. He pulls out his phone, types something, then looks at me again. I'm going to make you an offer, Naomi. You can refuse it. I won't be offended, and there will be no consequences. Do you understand? I nod, not trusting my voice. I need someone to manage my household, not clean it. I have a cleaning service for that. I need someone to coordinate staff, handle logistics, ensure everything runs smoothly. Someone intelligent, organized, and most importantly, someone who won't tolerate disrespect from anyone, including me. His smile is sharp. Someone with a spine? The job pays $60,000 a year, plus full benefits, housing if needed, and the authority to fire anyone who treats you poorly. Interested? My brain short circuits. 60,000. That's more than I made in the last 2 years combined. That's Mama's medical bills paid, Zara's college fund started, maybe even night classes for me. Why? The question escapes before I can stop it. You don't know me. I just refused your order in front of your associates. You refused my test. He corrects. And you passed. Everyone else in this room would have had you on your knees without a second thought. But you recognized the game and refused to play. That's exactly the kind of person I need. He glances at his phone. My car is waiting outside. You can leave with me now, see the property, decide if the position suits you. Or you can walk away, and I'll have my driver take you wherever you need to go. No judgment either way. Mr. Moretti, Mr. Castellano starts, voice strangled. Surely we can discuss. We're done here, Enzo. Mr. Moretti's voice drops several degrees. I came for a negotiation, but after seeing how you treat your staff, I've decided the Moretti family will not be doing business with you, ever. He buttons his suit jacket. Gentlemen, we're leaving. The other men stand immediately, moving like a unit. Mr. Moretti extends his hand toward the door. Not to me, just indicating the direction. A courtesy, not a command. Your choice, Naomi, he says. But choose now. I should think about this. Should call my mother, ask advice, be rational and careful. But something in my gut says this is one of those moments that defines everything that comes after. A door opening that might never open again. I pull off my apron, fold it neatly, and set it on the side table. I'd like to see the property, I say. Mr. Moretti's smile is genuine this time. Excellent. Let's go. I follow him out of the sitting room, through the marble hallway I spent hours cleaning, past Mrs. Castellano who stares at me with her mouth open, out into the sunshine where 3 black SUVs wait in the circular drive. One of the men opens the rear door of the middle vehicle. Mr. Moretti gestures for me to enter first. I climb in, sinking into leather seats that are softer than my bed at home, and he slides in beside me. Not crowding me, keeping respectful distance but present. The door closes, the engine starts. And just like that, my life pivots on an axis I didn't even know existed. There's water in the console if you're thirsty, Mr. Moretti says, pulling out his phone. And please, don't be nervous. I'm not going to hurt you, Naomi. I'm simply offering you a job. You don't know anything about me, I point out, watching the Castellano estate disappear in the side mirror. I could be terrible at organization. I could steal from you. I could be anyone. You could be. He agrees, still typing. But you're not. I can tell. How? He looks up from his phone, and those gold-flecked eyes meet mine with unsettling directness. Because someone who values their dignity over their paycheck, who stands up to a room full of dangerous men rather than compromise their principles, that person has integrity. Everything else can be taught. The car glides through Chicago streets I recognize, heading toward the Gold Coast. Of course. Where else would a Moretti live? I need to call my mother, I say. Let her know I'm okay, that I quit my job. Of course. He hands me his phone. Use this. It's secure. I take the phone, noting that it's not locked, that he's trusting me with access. Small things, maybe, but they register. Mama answers on the second ring. Hello? Mama, it's me. I'm using someone else's phone. Naomi, What's wrong? Are you hurt? Immediately to worry because that's who she is. I'm fine. I quit the Castellano job. I have an interview for something better. I just wanted you to know I'm safe. There's a pause. You quit without having something else lined up? It's complicated. I'll explain when I get home. But Mama, this new job, if I get it, it pays real money. Enough to cover your treatments. I hear her breath catch. Baby, don't take anything dangerous. I'd rather struggle than— I know, Mama. I'm being careful. I promise. I glance at Mr. Moretti, who's politely looking out the window, giving me privacy. I'll call you later, okay? Okay. I love you. Love you too. I hand the phone back. Thank you. Family? He asks. My mother. She's sick. Cancer. That's why I needed the Castellano job, even when it was awful. Something shifts in his expression. I'm sorry. That's difficult. We manage. The car pulls up to a building that makes the Castellano estate look modest. Glass and steel stretching toward the sky, doorman in uniform, the kind of place I've only seen in magazines. This is a hotel, I say stupidly. The top 3 floors are my residence. The rest is a hotel I own. Yes. Mr. Moretti exits the car, and one of his men opens my door. I step out onto the sidewalk, feeling completely out of place in my gray uniform and practical shoes. Mr. Moretti. The doorman nods respectfully. His eyes flick to me. Register. My uniform, and I see the question forming. This is Ms. Naomi Harris, Mr. Moretti says smoothly. She may be joining my household staff. Please ensure she's added to the approved list. Of course, sir. We enter a lobby that looks like something from a dream, or a nightmare, depending on your perspective. Marble, gold accents, chandeliers that probably cost more than my mother's house. I try not to gawk, but it's difficult. The private elevator requires a key card. We rise in silence and I watch the numbers climb. 39, 40, 41, the top. The doors open directly into a penthouse that takes my breath away. Floor-to-ceiling windows showing the entire city. Modern furniture that somehow manages to look comfortable and expensive simultaneously. Art on the walls that I'm fairly certain is real and valuable. Welcome, Mr. Moretti says, to what could be your workplace. Let me show you around. The penthouse is overwhelming in its casual display of wealth. Mr. Moretti leads me through spaces that flow into each other with architectural precision. A living room with furniture that looks like it belongs in a museum, a dining room with a table that could seat 12, a kitchen that's all gleaming stainless steel and marble countertops. The kitchen staff comes in daily, he explains, his voice echoing slightly in the vast space. Breakfast at 7, dinner at 8, unless I'm traveling or have other arrangements. There's also a housekeeper who handles the basic cleaning 3 times a week. Your role would be coordinating all of that, managing schedules, handling any issues that arise, ensuring everything runs smoothly. That's it? I can't help the skepticism in my voice. You're offering me $60,000 a year to coordinate a housekeeper and kitchen staff? He turns to face me, and there's something approving in his expression. I'm offering you $60,000 a year to be the person who ensures my home life doesn't require my attention. To handle everything from scheduling repairs to vetting new staff to dealing with the 1,000 small details that keep a household functioning. He pauses. And to be someone I can trust not to sell information about my private life to the highest bidder. Ah, there it is. The real job description. You're paying for discretion, I say. I'm paying for competence and discretion, he corrects. The competence I believe you have, based on how you handled yourself today. The discretion, that's something I'll need to verify. How? Instead of answering, he gestures toward a hallway. Let me show you the rest of the space. We pass several closed doors before he opens one, revealing a bedroom that's larger than my entire apartment. King-sized bed, Attached bathroom visible through an open door, more of those floor-to-ceiling windows. This would be yours, he says. If you accept the position, room and board are included in the compensation package. I step inside, my worn shoes sinking into carpet. So plush it feels like walking on clouds. The bathroom has a soaking tub, a shower with multiple heads, marble everywhere. There's a walk-in closet that's currently empty. You're serious, I say, more to myself than to him. You're actually offering me this? I don't make offers I'm not serious about, Naomi. He leans against the doorframe, watching me take it all in. But I need you to understand what you'd be walking into. This isn't just a household job. This is my private space, my sanctuary from the rest of my life. The people who work here know things about me. Personal things. Vulnerable things. Things you'd kill to protect, I say, turning to face him. His expression doesn't change. Things I've already killed to protect. Yes. The casual admission should terrify me. Instead, it clarifies something. This man isn't pretending to be anything other than what he is. No false charm, no manipulation. Just brutal honesty about the reality I'd be entering. I appreciate the transparency, I say carefully. Transparency is important between people who might work together closely. He straightens from the doorframe. Which brings me to the verification I mentioned. I need to know who you are, Naomi Harris. Really know. So before you make any decisions, I'm going to have someone run a background check. It won't take long. An hour. Maybe 2. My stomach clenches. What exactly will you be checking? Everything. Criminal history, employment records, financial situation, family connections, social media presence, any red flags that might indicate you're a risk. He says it matter-of-factly, like this is perfectly normal, which, in his world, it probably is. I'll also be calling references, though I suspect the Castellanos won't provide glowing recommendations. I've never been arrested, I say. Never been in any trouble. You'll find student loans I can't pay back, medical debt from my mother's treatments, and not much else. Good. Then you have nothing to worry about. He pulls out his phone, sends a quick text. While my people work on that, would you like something to eat? You left the Castellanos without lunch, I'm guessing. He's right. My stomach has been growling for the past hour, but adrenaline kept me from noticing. Now that he mentions it, hunger hits hard. I don't want to be any trouble, I start, but he's already walking toward the kitchen. Trouble would be letting a potential employee faint from low blood sugar. Come on. I follow him back to the kitchen, where he moves with surprising competence, pulling ingredients from the massive refrigerator. Bread, cheese, deli meat, vegetables. You cook? I can't hide my surprise. I make sandwiches, he corrects, his mouth quirking slightly. Cooking implies a level of skill I don't possess, but I can assemble food competently enough not to starve. He glances at me. Any allergies or preferences I should know about? No allergies. And I'm not picky. He builds 2 sandwiches with the same focused efficiency he seems to bring to everything, then sets one in front of me along with a glass of water. We sit at the kitchen island, a slab of marble that probably weighs more than my car did, and for a moment there's just the sound of eating. Tell me about your mother's condition, he says finally, if you're comfortable sharing. I take a sip of water, buying time to decide how much to reveal. But something about the genuine interest in his voice makes me answer honestly. Stage 3 breast cancer. She was diagnosed 18 months ago. The treatment is expensive, even with insurance, and she can't work anymore. I have a younger sister, Zara. She's 16, still in school. I'm trying to cover everything, but it's like drowning in slow motion. He nods slowly, processing. And your father? He left when I was 12. Haven't heard from him since. I take another bite of sandwich to avoid seeing pity in his eyes. Siblings besides Zara? No. Just us. That's a lot of weight for one person to carry. I don't have a choice. The words come out sharper than I intend. Sorry, I just mean, someone has to do it. Mama took care of me my whole life. Now it's my turn. That's admirable, he says quietly. Loyalty to family is something I value deeply. We finish eating in companionable silence. He clears the plates, rinses them in the sink. Small gestures that somehow make him seem more human, less like the dangerous crime lord I know he is. His phone buzzes. He reads the message, his expression neutral, then looks at me. Background check is complete. You're exactly who you said you are. No red flags, no concerns. He sets the phone down. Congratulations, Naomi. If you want the job, it's yours. My heart hammers. Just like that? Just like that. Though I do need an answer today. If you're not interested, I'll need to find someone else. I think about my efficiency apartment with its broken air conditioning and roaches I can't afford to fully exterminate. About waking up at 5:30 every morning to catch 2 buses to a job where I'm treated like I'm invisible at best, subhuman at worst. About Mama's medical bills piling up, about Zara wearing shoes with holes because I can't afford new ones yet. Then I think about this bedroom with its soaking tub and soft carpet. About 60,000 a year. Real money. Enough to breathe for the first time in years. About working for someone who seems to value competence and dignity. What happens if I fail? I ask. If I take the job and I'm terrible at it? Then I'll fire you, he says simply. With 2 weeks severance and a decent reference because I don't punish people for trying and failing. I only punish people for betrayal or incompetence born from laziness. And if I see things I'm not supposed to see, hear things I'm not supposed to hear? His expression grows serious. Then, you keep your mouth shut, and we never have a problem. But Naomi, I'm going to be honest with you about what my life involves. I run a family business that operates in gray areas, sometimes black areas. You'll see people come and go who aren't choir boys. You'll overhear conversations about things that would sound criminal to the police. Will I be in danger? The question I've been dancing around finally emerges. Not from me. Never from me. His voice is firm. And I'll ensure you're protected from anyone else who might see you as a vulnerability. But I can't promise this life is without risk. Being associated with me, even as household staff, means accepting a level of danger that most people never encounter. It's the honesty that decides me. He could have lied, could have promised perfect safety, could have manipulated me into accepting. Instead, he's laying out the risks clearly, giving me informed consent. I want the job, I say. When do I start? Something that might be relief flickers across his face. Tomorrow, if you're able. That gives you tonight to pack your things, say goodbye to your current living situation, and prepare for the transition. Tomorrow works. My mind is already racing through logistics. I'll need to tell my mother, get my belongings. I'll have someone help you move, he interrupts. No need to handle it alone. Just text me your address. He pulls out his phone again, and within seconds mine buzzes in my pocket. Somehow he already has my number. Save that. You can reach me anytime, day or night, if you need something. Mr. Moretti. Dante, he corrects. We'll be working closely together, living in the same space. Mr. Moretti is too formal. Dante. The name feels strange on my tongue. Intimate. I need you to understand something. I'm grateful for this opportunity. Really grateful. But I'm not going to compromise my principles. Not even for 60,000 a year. He smiles, and it transforms his face completely. Naomi, if I wanted someone who'd compromise their principles, I would have hired any of the dozen people who would have cleaned my shoes without question. I hired you specifically because you won't. Don't change that. A knock on the door interrupts us. Dante crosses the space with fluid grace, checks something on a screen beside the door, then opens it to reveal a man I vaguely recognize from the Castellano sitting room. Marco, Dante says. Come in. Naomi, this is Marco Santoro, my head of security. Marco, this is Naomi Harris. She'll be managing the household starting tomorrow. Marco is massive, at least 6'4", built like he could bench press a car. But when he looks at me, there's no threat in his expression. Just assessment. Ms. Harris. He nods respectfully. I'll need to brief you on security protocols at some point. Nothing complicated. Just things you need to know to stay safe. Of course, I manage, still processing that I now apparently need security briefings. Naomi needs help moving her belongings tonight, Dante says. Can you arrange that? Already done, boss. I'll have 2 men and a truck ready whenever she is. Marco looks at me. Just call this number when you're ready to go. He hands me a card with a phone number printed on it. Thank you, I say, pocketing the card. Marco leaves as quickly as he arrived. Dante turns back to me and I see something in his expression I can't quite read. I know this is overwhelming, he says quietly. You're making a massive life change very quickly. If you need time to think, to process. I don't need time, I interrupt. I need to call my mother and tell her I'm moving before she has a heart attack worrying about me. He gestures toward the living room. Take all the privacy you need. I have some calls to make anyway. I pull out my phone and dial Mama's number, walking toward the windows while it rings. The view is incredible. All of Chicago spread out below like a living map. Naomi? Mama answers, voice tight with worry. What's happening? You never call twice in one day unless something's wrong. Nothing's wrong, Mama. Something's right for once. I take a breath. I got a new job. A real job. With real pay. $60,000 a year, plus room and board. Silence. Then, baby, what kind of job pays that much for someone without a college degree? Household manager. For a very wealthy man. I'd be coordinating his staff, making sure everything runs smoothly, basically handling all the domestic details of his life. Naomi Renee Harris. She uses my full name, which means she's serious. Is this man asking you to do anything illegal? Anything that could get you hurt or arrested? No, Mama, I swear. It's a legitimate job. He ran a background check on me and everything. A background check. She doesn't sound reassured. Honey, normal jobs don't require background checks and armed escorts to move your furniture. So she's already figured out the armed escort part. Of course she has. It's not a normal job, I admit. But Mama, with this salary, I can pay for your treatments. Real doctors, not the clinic. I can make sure Zara has everything she needs for school. I can actually breathe for the first time in 2 years. Another pause. I can practically hear her thinking, weighing maternal worry against practical necessity. Is he kind to you? She asks finally. This man you'll be working for? I think about Dante's honesty, his respect, the way he's treated me like a person with agency and value from the moment I refused to clean his shoes. Yes, I say. He's kind. In his own way. Then you have my blessing. Her voice is thick with emotion. But Naomi, if anything feels wrong, if he asks you to do anything that makes you uncomfortable, you call me immediately. You hear me? I hear you, Mama. I promise. When are you moving? Tonight. His people are helping me pack and transport everything. Lord have mercy. She laughs, but it's shaky. My baby girl moving to a penthouse. Never thought I'd see the day. It's just a job, Mama. Don't make it bigger than it is. If you say so, baby, if you say so. We talk for a few more minutes before I hang up. When I turn around, Dante is standing in the kitchen doorway, far enough away to give me privacy but close enough that he heard at least parts of the conversation. Your mother is worried, he observes. Of course she is. I'm her daughter. And I just told her I'm moving in with a man I met 6 hours ago. I cross my arms. Wouldn't you be worried? I'd be terrified, he agrees, which is why I'd like to meet her. Put her mind at ease, if possible. I blink. You want to meet my mother? If you're going to be living here, if you're going to be an important part of my household, then your family matters. Their peace of mind matters. He checks his watch. It's 4 o'clock now. What if we drive to your apartment? I introduce myself to your mother, and then my people help you pack. That way she can see I'm not some monster kidnapping her daughter. The thoughtfulness of the gesture catches me off guard. You don't have to do that. I know. I want to. He grabs his jacket from the back of a chair. Besides, I need to see where you've been living. Helps me understand who you are. The drive to my apartment takes 20 minutes through afternoon traffic. Marco drives while Dante and I sit in the back, and I watch familiar neighborhoods blur past the tinted windows. When we pull up to my building, a rundown complex in a part of town that gentrification hasn't reached, I see Dante's expression tighten almost imperceptibly. You've been living here? He asks quietly. It's what I can afford, I say, defensive despite myself. Not everyone gets penthouses, Dante. I'm not judging you. I'm judging the circumstances that forced you to accept inadequate housing. He exits the car, and I follow. Marco stays behind the wheel, eyes constantly scanning the street. My apartment is on the 3rd floor, accessed by stairs that smell like urine and cigarettes. I unlock the door to find exactly what I left this morning. One room serving as bedroom, living room, and kitchen, with a bathroom so small you have to close the door to use the sink. Mama is sitting on my bed, the only real furniture besides a rickety table, and Zara is doing homework at that table. They both look up when I enter, and their eyes go wide when Dante follows me inside. Mama, Zara, this is Dante Moretti. Dante, this is my mother, Patricia Harris, and my sister Zara. Dante extends his hand to Mama first, his expression respectful. Mrs. Harris, it's a pleasure to meet you. Your daughter made quite an impression today. Mama shakes his hand warily, her nurse's eyes taking in every detail. Mr. Moretti, Naomi tells me she'll be working for you. If she chooses to accept the position, yes. I'm hoping she will. She's exactly the kind of person I need managing my household. And what kind of person is that? Mama's voice is polite, but steely. Competent, principled, unafraid to speak her mind. Dante's smile is genuine. Your daughter refused to follow an order she found degrading today, in front of a room full of dangerous men. That takes courage most people don't have. Mama's eyes flick to me, questions written all over her face. I'll explain later. Mr. Moretti, she says carefully, I appreciate you giving Naomi this opportunity, but I need to know she'll be safe working for you. That this is a legitimate job. It is legitimate, and she will be safe. You have my word. Dante's voice is firm. I run a complicated business, Mrs. Harris. I won't lie to you about that. But I value loyalty and competence, and I protect the people who work for me. Naomi will have her own quarters, full benefits, and security measures to ensure nothing happens to her. Security measures? Zara speaks up for the first time, her 16-year-old curiosity overriding caution. Like bodyguards? Like a secure building with vetted staff and protocols designed to keep everyone safe, Dante replies smoothly. Nothing dramatic, just sensible precautions. If you're hooked on this story, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Your support means everything and helps me bring you more emotional stories like this one. Mama stands, and despite the cancer eating away at her body, despite the exhaustion written in every line of her face, she draws herself up with dignity that reminds me why I love her so much. Mr. Moretti, you seem like a decent man, but I need you to understand something. Her voice is soft but unyielding. Naomi is my heart. If anything happens to her because of your world, your business, whatever it is you're involved in, there's no power on earth that will protect you from a mother's fury. Do we understand each other? Instead of taking offense, Dante's respect seems to deepen. We understand each other perfectly, Mrs. Harris, and I give you my word, on my mother's memory, that I will protect Naomi as if she were my own family. She will be safe. Something passes between them, some understanding I can't quite name. Mama nods slowly. All right then. Naomi, you pack what you need. Zara and I will help. The next hour is chaos. Two of Dante's men arrive with boxes and packing materials, moving with efficient precision. My meager belongings barely fill 3 boxes. Clothes, a few books, personal items that matter more for sentiment than value. Mama insists I take the quilt my grandmother made, the photo albums documenting a childhood that feels like it belonged to someone else. Dante doesn't hover, but he doesn't disappear either. He sits at my rickety table, talking quietly with Zara about school, asking about her interests. I watch him charm my baby sister with genuine questions about her art class, her college plans, her dreams of becoming a graphic designer. That requires expensive software, he observes. Do you have access to what you need? Zara's face falls. Not really. The school has computers, but I can't practice at home. I'll have my assistant send you a laptop with the full Adobe suite installed. Consider it an investment in a future designer. He says it casually, like he's offering her a pencil, not thousands of dollars in equipment. I can't accept that, I say immediately. It's too much. It's a tax write-off, he counters. I support education programs. This qualifies. Before I can argue further, he's already texting someone. By 6 o'clock, everything I own is packed into the back of a truck. I stand in my empty apartment, looking at the space that's been my home for 2 years, and feel absolutely nothing. No nostalgia, no sadness, just relief that I'm leaving. Ready? Dante asks from the doorway. I hug Mama tight, breathing in her familiar scent of cocoa butter and determination. I'll call you every day, I promise. You better. She pulls back, cups my face in her hands. Be smart, baby girl. Be safe. I will. Zara hugs me next, whispering in my ear. He's hot. Like scary hot. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. I swat her arm gently, laughing despite myself. Focus on your homework, not my boss. Your hot boss, she corrects, grinning. The drive back to the penthouse feels different now, like I'm not just visiting, but actually going home. Marco helps bring my boxes up, and Dante shows me where to put everything in my new room. Take tonight to settle in, he says, standing in the doorway. Tomorrow we'll go over your actual duties, introduce you to the staff, get you oriented properly. But for now, just rest. You've had a significant day. Dante. I stop him before he can leave. Why did you really offer me this job? And don't say it's because I refuse to clean your shoes. There's more to it than that. He's quiet for a long moment, and I watch emotions flicker across his face too quickly to identify. Because I'm tired of being surrounded by people who fear me, he says finally. Who say yes to everything because they're terrified of saying no. Who see me as a monster or a meal ticket, never as a person. His eyes meet mine. You saw me as a person who was being an asshole, and you called me on it. That's rare, Naomi. Precious, even. I could have gotten killed, I point out. But you didn't, because I'm not the monster people think I am. Not completely, anyway. His smile is rueful. Get some rest. Tomorrow your real education begins. He leaves, closing the door softly behind him. I stand in my new bedroom with its luxury I can barely comprehend and try to process everything that's happened in the past 12 hours. This morning I was cleaning grout with a toothbrush, invisible and degraded. Tonight I'm living in a penthouse, working for one of the most powerful men in Chicago, with a salary that will change my family's life. It feels like a fairy tale. Or a trap. Maybe both. I unpack methodically, hanging clothes in the massive closet, setting out my grandmother's quilt on the bed, arranging my few books on the shelf. When I finally collapse onto sheets that feel like clouds, exhaustion hits me like a physical force. My phone buzzes. A text from Mama. "I'm proud of you, baby. But be careful. Men like him don't give without expecting something in return." I stare at the message for a long time before responding. "I know, Mama." I'm keeping my eyes open. Another buzz, this time from a number I don't recognize. "The kitchen is stocked if you get hungry. Help yourself to anything. Sleep well." I save his number, then scroll through my contacts to the few friends I still maintain. None of them would believe what's happened. Hell, I barely believe it myself. Tomorrow I'll worry about learning my duties, about navigating this new world, about figuring out what Dante Moretti really wants from me. Tonight, I'm just going to enjoy sleeping in a bed that doesn't creak, in a room without roaches, in a space that feels safe for the first time in years. Even if that safety is an illusion, it's a beautiful one. And for now, that's enough. I wake to sunlight streaming through windows I forgot to cover. Disoriented for a full 30 seconds before memory crashes back. The penthouse, Dante Moretti, my new life that started with refusing to kneel. My phone shows 6:30 a.m. I sit up, taking in the room that still doesn't feel real. The plush carpet, the expensive furniture, the view of Chicago stretching endlessly beyond the glass. A far cry from my efficiency apartment where the sunrise meant glaring directly into my eyes through threadbare curtains. There's a soft knock on my door. "Come in," I call, pulling the blanket higher even though I'm fully dressed in the oversized t-shirt I slept in. Dante enters carrying 2 mugs of coffee, and I'm struck by how different he looks in the morning. Still put together, dark slacks, white dress shirt unbuttoned at the collar, but softer somehow. More human without the armor of his full suit. "Good morning," he says, offering me one of the mugs. "Wasn't sure how you take it, so I brought it black. There's cream and sugar in the kitchen if you need it." I accept the mug, wrapping both hands around its warmth. "Black is fine. Thank you." He nods toward the door. "When you're ready, meet me in the kitchen. I'd like to go over your responsibilities before the staff arrives at 8. I'll be there in 15 minutes. He leaves without further comment, and I quickly shower in the bathroom that still feels obscenely luxurious, dress in jeans and a simple blouse, the closest thing I have to business casual, and braid my hair into something presentable. The kitchen smells like fresh coffee and something baking when I arrive. Dante is sitting at the island with a tablet, scrolling through what looks like spreadsheets, and there's a basket of croissants on the counter that definitely weren't there last night. "The bakery delivers at 6, he explains, without looking up. "Help yourself." I take a croissant because refusing feels rude, and settle onto the stool across from him. He sets down the tablet and gives me his full attention, something I'm learning is characteristic of him. When Dante focuses on you, it's complete. Undivided. Almost overwhelming. "Your primary responsibilities," he begins without preamble, "are coordination and problem solving. Maria handles the actual cleaning. She's been with me for 3 years, very thorough, completely trustworthy. The kitchen staff rotates, but Chef Antoine is the primary cook. He's temperamental but excellent at his job." "Temperamental how?" I ask, taking notes on my phone. He doesn't like anyone interfering with his kitchen, and he has opinions about everything from grocery shopping to plate presentation. You'll need to manage him with a firm hand. Dante's mouth quirks. Which, based on yesterday, I trust you can do. And if he doesn't respect my authority, then you fire him and we find someone else. He says it casually, like replacing a world-class chef is as simple as ordering takeout. Your authority in this household is second only to mine, Naomi. Anyone who doesn't respect that doesn't belong here. The weight of that statement settles over me. Yesterday, I was scrubbing floors. Today, I have the power to fire people. What else? I ask, trying to focus on practicalities instead of the surreal nature of my situation. Scheduling. I have a calendar that my assistant maintains for business matters, but you'll handle the household calendar, maintenance appointments, deliveries, when staff are scheduled to come and go. I need to know who's in my space at all times. Security concern? Always. He pours himself more coffee. Marco will brief you on protocols this afternoon. Basic things. Never letting anyone in without verification, knowing which areas are off limits to certain people, what to do if something seems suspicious. Off limits areas? I raise an eyebrow. You mean like a Bluebeard situation? Rooms I'm forbidden to enter? His laugh is genuine, transforming his face. Nothing so dramatic. More like, my office is private. My bedroom is private unless you're handling something related to cleaning or maintenance, and the sub-basement level is absolutely off-limits to everyone except Marco and me. The sub-basement, I repeat slowly. What's in the sub-basement, Dante? He meets my eyes, and I see him weighing how much truth to share. Things related to my business that you're better off not knowing about, not because I don't trust you, but because knowledge is dangerous in my world. The less you know, the safer you are. It's a fair answer, even if it's unsettling. Okay, what else do I need to know? Visitors. I entertain rarely, but when I do, you'll need to coordinate with Marco about security, make sure the space is prepared, ensure appropriate refreshments are available. You won't be expected to serve, that's not your role, but you'll need to ensure everything is handled. We spend the next hour going over details that make my head spin. Preferred vendors for various services, emergency contacts, the specific way Dante likes his morning routine to flow, dietary restrictions for Chef Antoine to accommodate, the names and roles of everyone who regularly accesses the penthouse. By the time Maria arrives at 8, a small, efficient woman in her 50s who greets me with cautious warmth, I'm slightly overwhelmed, but determined not to show it. Maria, this is Naomi Harris. Dante introduces us. She'll be managing the household going forward. Anything you need, any issues that arise, you bring them to her first. Maria looks me over with sharp eyes that miss nothing. You're very young, she observes in accented English. I'm very competent, I reply evenly, meeting her gaze. Something that might be approval flickers across her face. We'll see. I've been keeping this place running smoothly for 3 years. I don't need someone coming in and changing everything that works. I'm not here to change what works, I say. I'm here to make sure it keeps working and to handle the things that aren't currently being managed. We're on the same team, Maria. She nods slowly. Okay, we try it. But Mr. Moretti, she turns to Dante. If this doesn't work, you tell me directly. Not through her. Fair enough, Dante agrees. But I expect you to give Naomi the same respect you give me. She speaks with my authority in household matters. Maria's eyes widen slightly at that, but she nods. Understood, sir. Dante checks his watch. I have a meeting downtown at 10. I'll be back by 3. Naomi, use this time to familiarize yourself with the space. Talk to Maria. Start getting a feel for how things operate. We'll debrief this evening. He leaves in a whirlwind of efficiency, grabbing his jacket, his phone, exchanging brief words with Marco, who's appeared from wherever he stations himself. And then I'm alone with Maria, who's studying me like I'm a puzzle she hasn't decided whether to solve or discard. "So," she says after a long moment, "Mr. Moretti hired you to manage his household. A girl young enough to be his daughter, with no experience in this kind of work. Why?" "Because I refuse to compromise my dignity," I answer honestly. "And apparently that's rare enough to be valuable." Maria's expression shifts. "He told you this?" "He showed me. Yesterday, at a business associate's house. Someone tried to make me clean his shoes as a power play. I refused. Dante, Mr. Moretti, offered me this job an hour later." "You refused a direct order from Mr. Moretti?" Maria's eyes are wide now. "Not from him. From someone else. In his presence." I lean against the counter. "Maria, I'm not here to make your life difficult. I'm here because I needed an opportunity and he offered one. But I won't apologize for having boundaries, and I won't let anyone, including him, treat me like I'm less than human. If that's going to be a problem, tell me now." She's quiet for a long moment, then a smile breaks across her face, genuine and warm. "You'll do. Anyone who stands up to powerful men and lives to tell about it has my respect. Come on, I'll show you where everything is." The next few hours are a crash course in maintaining a multi-million-dollar penthouse. Maria walks me through her cleaning routine, shows me where supplies are kept, explains her system for tracking what's been done and what needs attention. She's meticulous, thorough, and clearly takes pride in her work. "Mr. Moretti is a good employer," she tells me while we're reorganizing the linen closet. "He pays well, he's respectful, he doesn't make unreasonable demands. But he values privacy above almost everything else. You see things, you hear things, you forget them immediately. Understand?" I understand. "And he has visitors sometimes. People who come late at night, who meet with him in his office with the door closed. You don't ask questions about these people. You don't gossip about them. You act like they don't exist." "Got it." I pause. "Has anyone ever threatened you? Made you feel unsafe?" "No. Never." Maria's answer is immediate and firm. "Mr. Moretti protects his people. 2 years ago, my nephew got into trouble with some bad men. Owed them money he couldn't pay. I mentioned it to Mr. Moretti, not asking for help. Just talking. The next day, the debt was forgiven. The men left my nephew alone." She looks at me directly. "He's dangerous. Yes. But he's dangerous to his enemies, not to the people loyal to him." It's the clearest picture I've gotten yet of who Dante Moretti actually is, not from his own words, but from someone who's worked for him, who's seen him in unguarded moments. Chef Antoine arrives at noon, sweeping into the kitchen like a storm front. He's exactly what I expected from Dante's description: tall, thin, with wild gray hair and an expression of perpetual artistic suffering. "And who are you?" he demands in a thick French accent, looking me up and down like I'm an ingredient that's gone bad. "Naomi Harris. I'm managing the household now." "Managing," he snorts. "We don't need managing. We need to be left alone to do our work properly." Great. Then we're on the same page. I don't let his attitude faze me. You do your excellent work, I make sure you have what you need to do it. Simple. Simple. He mutters something in French that I'm fairly certain isn't complimentary. And what does a child know about a kitchen of this caliber? Absolutely nothing, I admit freely. Which is why I'm not going to pretend to know your job better than you do. But Antoine? I step closer, making sure he's paying attention. I may not know cooking, but I know respect. You'll get it from me as long as I get it back. We clear? He studies me with narrowed eyes, then something shifts in his expression. "Mr. Moretti hired you, yes? Not Mrs. Castellano or one of the other How do you say? Society women? He hired me yesterday. First time we met. Interesting? Antoine pulls out a notepad, starts scribbling. Very interesting. Okay, Miss Naomi, I give you 1 week. We see if you can handle this job. But I warn you, I am very particular about my kitchen. And I'm very particular about being treated like a human being. I think we'll get along fine. By the time Dante returns at 3, I've successfully navigated my first day without any major disasters. Maria and I have established a working rhythm. Antoine has grudgingly accepted my presence, and I've started a master calendar tracking everything from maintenance schedules to grocery deliveries. How was it? Dante asks, finding me in what I've claimed as my small office. Really just a desk in the corner of the library. Productive. Maria is excellent but protective of her territory. Antoine is exactly as temperamental as you warned, but I think we'll all figure it out. I show him the calendar I've created. This is everything scheduled for the next month. I'll update it daily and send you a summary each evening. He reviews it with the same focused attention he brings to everything, then nods. This is excellent work. Clear, organized, comprehensive. He sets down the tablet. You're going to be very good at this job, Naomi. The approval warms me more than it should. Thank you. Marco wants to meet with you now, if you're available. Security briefing. Lead the way. Marco's office is on the floor below the penthouse, still part of Dante's private space, but separate. It's exactly what I'd expect from a head of security. Multiple monitors showing camera feeds, filing cabinets that probably contain enough secrets to take down half of Chicago, and weapons I try not to look at too closely. Naomi. Marco gestures to a chair. Thanks for making time. This won't take long. For the next hour, he walks me through protocols that sound paranoid until I remember who I'm working for. How to verify identities before allowing anyone access. What to do if someone shows up who isn't on the approved list. Emergency procedures if there's a threat. Safe rooms in the building. Exit strategies. The most important thing, Marco says, his expression deadly serious, is that you trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Call me immediately. Don't worry about false alarms. I'd rather respond to 100 false alarms than miss one real threat. Understood. I glance at the monitors. How often have there been real threats? Against Dante personally? 3 times in the last year. None of them got close. But they tried. He leans back in his chair. He's made enemies, Naomi, powerful ones. That's the reality of his life. And now, by association, it's part of yours too. He was honest about that yesterday, I say. I appreciate that he didn't try to hide it. That's Dante. He doesn't lie to his people. Marco's expression softens slightly. Look, I know this is overwhelming. You went from scrubbing floors to living in a penthouse in 24 hours. But you should know, Dante doesn't bring people into his inner circle lightly. The fact that he hired you, gave you this much access and authority, means he sees something in you. Don't waste that trust. I don't intend to. Good. He stands, extending his hand. Welcome to the family, such as it is. I shake his hand, feeling the calluses that speak to years of hard work. Thank you for the briefing, and Marco, thanks for helping me move yesterday. You didn't have to do that. Boss said to help you, so I helped you. That's how this works. But he smiles. Besides, your mother is terrifying. I wanted to make a good impression. I laugh despite myself. She has that effect on people. By the time I return to the penthouse, exhaustion is creeping in. It's only 4 o'clock, but I've processed more new information today than in the last month at the Castellanos. Dante is in the kitchen, having changed into more casual clothes, jeans and a Henley that somehow makes him look both more approachable and more dangerous. Hungry? He asks. Antoine left dinner prepared, We just need to heat it. Starving, actually. I realize I barely ate all day, too focused on learning everything. We work together in comfortable silence, heating the meal Antoine prepared, some kind of chicken in a cream sauce that smells incredible. Dante sets the table in the dining room, and we sit across from each other like this is completely normal. Tell me honestly, he says after a few bites. How are you really doing? I know this is a massive adjustment. I consider lying, giving him the easy answer. But something about Dante demands honesty. I'm terrified, I admit. I keep waiting for the other shoe to drop, for this to turn out to be too good to be true. I keep wondering what you really want from me, because people like you don't just hand people like me life-changing opportunities without expecting something in return. He sets down his fork, and I see him choosing his words carefully. I want competence. I want loyalty. I want someone I can trust to manage my personal life so I can focus on my business without worrying that my home is being neglected or that someone is using access to my space to gather intelligence. He pauses. And honestly, Naomi, I want someone around who sees me as a person, not a boss, not a monster, not a meal ticket, just a person. Loneliness, I say softly. That's what this is about. You're lonely. Profoundly. The admission seems to cost him something. I'm surrounded by people all day, every day. Associates, employees, enemies, supplicants. But none of them know me. They know Dante Moretti, the boss. They don't know Dante, the man who likes reading philosophy and can't cook to save his life, and still misses his mother even though she's been gone for 16 years. The vulnerability in his voice makes my chest ache. What happened to her? Killed by my father's enemies when I was 16. They took her to get to him. His jaw tightens. It worked. My father went to war over it, destroyed 3 families, left bodies stacked like cordwood. And in the end, she was still dead, and he was still the monster who got her killed. I'm sorry. Don't be. It was a long time ago. But his eyes say it wasn't. Not really. My point is, I know what it's like to be alone, even in a crowded room. And yesterday, when you stood up to me, I saw someone who understood that feeling. Someone who'd been invisible so long that being seen, really seen, was worth the risk. He's right. God help me, he's absolutely right. I was invisible at the Castellanos, I hear myself say. Invisible at the diner before that. Invisible to the doctors who treated my mother like a charity case instead of a person. I've spent so long being no one that I forgot I could be someone. You're someone, Naomi. His voice is firm. You're someone who values dignity over comfort, who fights for her family, who refuses to kneel. That's not nothing. That's everything. We finish dinner in silence that feels less awkward than profound, like we've both revealed pieces of ourselves and are sitting with the weight of that vulnerability. After dinner, I help clean up despite Dante's protests, then retreat to my room. I call Mama, tell her about my first day, reassure her that I'm safe and settling in. Then I video call Zara, who immediately demands a tour of the penthouse. This is insane, she breathes, watching me pan my phone around my bedroom. Naomi, you're living in a palace. It's just a nice apartment, I say, but I'm smiling. A nice apartment with a view that costs more than our house. Admit it. You're basically a princess now. I'm basically a household manager now. There's a difference. We talk until she has to go finish homework, and then I'm alone with my thoughts. I should be exhausted, ready to collapse. Instead, I'm wired, my brain refusing to quiet. There's a soft knock on my door. Dante's voice. Naomi? You still awake? Yeah. Come in. He enters carrying 2 glasses of wine. Thought you might need this. First days are always overwhelming. I accept the glass, taking a sip of something that tastes expensive and complex. Is this how you unwind? Wine and… I gesture vaguely. Wine and silence, usually. He settles into the chair by the window. But tonight I thought you might appreciate company. If I'm wrong, I'll leave. No. Stay. The word comes out before I can think better of it. I'm too wound up to sleep anyway. We sit in comfortable silence for a while, sipping wine, watching the city lights below. It feels intimate in a way that has nothing to do with romance, and everything to do with two people who understand loneliness sharing space. Can I ask you something? I finally say. Anything. Why do you do it? The business, the danger, all of it. You're clearly smart enough to be successful legitimately. Why choose this life? He's quiet for so long I think he won't answer. Then, because it's the only life I've ever known. My father raised me in this world. Every lesson, every value, every skill I have is oriented around survival in this specific environment. He swirls the wine in his glass. Could I go legitimate? Probably. But I'd be starting from zero, competing against people who've had decades to establish themselves. Here, I'm already at the top. I have power, resources, the ability to protect people I care about. And enemies who want you dead. That too. He smiles ruefully. It's not a perfect life, Naomi, but it's mine, and I'm good at it. What would you do if you could start over? If you could be anyone, do anything? Architecture, he answers immediately, surprising me. I love buildings, the way space can be designed to make people feel certain ways. When I was younger, before my mother died, I used to sketch floor plans and elevations, dreamed about creating beautiful spaces. I look around my bedroom with new eyes, understanding now why the penthouse feels so well designed. You designed this place, didn't you? Guilty. Hired a professional architect to handle the technical aspects, but the vision was mine. He stands, moves to the window. This is the closest I get to that dream now. Creating spaces that feel like home. It does feel like home, I say softly. More than anywhere I've lived in years. He turns to look at me, and something in his expression makes my breath catch. Good. That's what I wanted for you. What I want for anyone who lives here. The moment stretches between us, heavy with something I can't name. Then his phone buzzes, shattering it. I should let you rest, he says, checking the message. Tomorrow we have deliveries coming, and Antoine wants to discuss menu planning for some event he's convinced I'm hosting next month. Are you hosting an event next month? I have no idea, but if Antoine says I am, I probably am. He pauses at the door. Sleep well, Naomi. You did excellent work today. Good night, Dante. After he leaves, I finish my wine and finally feel exhaustion winning. I crawl into bed, surrounded by luxury that still doesn't quite feel real, and drift off thinking about a dangerous man who dreams of creating beautiful spaces. My last conscious thought is simple. I made the right choice. Whatever comes next, I made the right choice. 3 months pass in a blur of routine and revelation. I wake each morning to sunlight and coffee. Dante leaves outside my door. We breakfast together, discussing schedules and small things, his preferences, my observations, the comfortable rhythm of two people learning each other's edges. Maria and I become allies. She teaches me the invisible work that keeps luxury functioning, the art of anticipating needs before they're spoken, of maintaining perfection without making it look effortful. Antoine grudgingly admits I'm competent. High praise from a man who once threw a soufflé at his sous chef. Mama's treatments improve. Real doctors, real medicine, real hope. Zara thrives with her new laptop, sending me designs that make my heart swell. And Dante becomes someone I can't quite define. Not my boss, though technically he is. Not my friend, though we talk like friends. Something else entirely. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you loved this story, check out the other videos on your screen now. I think you'll really enjoy them. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. See you in the next story.